Welcome to BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real. Greetings and salutations, all my friends out there in internet land. I am William Honolulu Jr., and I have the privilege and honor of serving as the host of the Black USA News Morning Show. Today is Monday, April 18th, 2022. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get into it today. We're going to have a conversation that some of you may not be comfortable with. We're going to be talking about what it means to be Black in politics. Want to give a big shout out to the super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan, and the assistant producer, Brandy Raymar, for always holding it down and doing all the things that they can to make sure that we're able to provide you all some quality content that matters. So I'm grateful for them always for all that they do. But you know what I want to do a little bit of today? I want to get back and talk about our sponsors a little bit. Let's start with Darker Than Blue. For those of you all who don't know, Darker Than Blue Grill is an amazing restaurant located on Charles Street in Baltimore. They have phenomenal food. Like, I can't even tell you how good the food is, especially the cowboy prime rib. That is amazing. It's ridiculously good. So if you get an opportunity and you want to celebrate, or you just want to have some good food, because I'm really big on celebrating. I mean, there's a lot of rough stuff happening in the world, and sometimes the fact that we just made it to the next day is a reason enough to celebrate. But if you want to celebrate, you might want to head to Darker Than Blue, because they have amazing food and you will not be disappointed. Amens, amens, amens. And let's see, Murphy, Falcone, and Murphy. Judge Murphy has been working to support the Black community for my entire adult life, and he put together a law firm that is focused, is singularly focused on making sure that that fight continues. If you have a situation where you find yourself needing some advice on a civil issue, or if you're trying to get some legislation changed, or you want to have a different impact in your community, make sure you give Murphy, Falcone, and Murphy a call. Again, another group of people that you won't be disappointed by. Want to say a big shout out to Dr. Tyrone Taborn and his crew over there at Career Communications and STEM City USA. They do an amazing job, and I'm really grateful for Donnie with the partnership with STEM City USA and really exposing us to the metaverse, because I'd heard about it, dabbled around, just took a tour of a few friends' metaverse sites or whatever. But then having an opportunity to tour STEM City USA and really doing more research, I am really understanding how powerful the metaverse will be, not only in the future of communications and media, but also the future of business, the future of politics, the future of communication in general. This is going to be the metaverse will be to our world now what the internet was to our life before the internet. So again, great job, STEM City USA and Dr. Tyrone Taborn and their staff, really making sure that we don't get left behind again. Big up to Donnie Glover, the founder of Be More News, Black USA News, and more recently, the Prince Georgian. He is also an author. I think this is his third book, I believe. It's called I Am Black Wall Street. It's a really interesting piece of scholarship because it does a different take on Black Wall Street. Not only does he expand our knowledge to the fact that there were other places that were known as Black Wall Street, he also takes a look at how people got from where they were living to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma is not one of the states that's known for its slave population or whatever, but it talks about what they were looking for and how they partnered and worked together to get those things and create Black Wall Street. And I got to be honest, it feels sometimes like it's a really, really good roadmap for us to take on nowadays. Oh, the warrior lawyer, J. Wendell Gordon. What else can I say about J. Wendell Gordon except that you need to Google him? They call him the warrior lawyer, not because it sounds good. I mean, it does. You can't deny that. But they call him the warrior lawyer because he gets out there and he fights for his clients. Not only does he fight for his clients, he wins. And so if you find yourself in a criminal situation, this is somebody that you might want to talk to. And sometimes when the other side knows that you have a good lawyer, they change their tune pretty quickly. So get yourself a good lawyer, J. Wendell Gordon. Now let's talk about my company, the Grinding Gang. The Grinding Gang is a community of business professionals and entrepreneurs who help each other. We have a level of technical support and skills that are very few of our competitors can meet. Um, the biggest thing that we do is that we help you figure out how to design your business system in a way that makes sense for you. A lot of these places, when they help you build a business plan or build business system, it's not really a thing of yours. It's they come up with this idea, they come up with something to say, and then they do it. And then on the side, they expect you to do it. We help you figure out what actually makes sense for you. There's a lot of opinions, a lot of noise out there. We help you figure out what you do to get beyond that noise so that you can have the business success that you deserve. Oh, edible arrangements. Let me tell you about these guys. I love me some edible arrangements. Let me show you what it comes look like. What it looks like. I'm sorry, looks like when it comes. I'm so excited. I'm getting all tongue tied because the fruit is good. Again, big up to Brandy Raymar for making sure that I got this door dashed. I'm gonna tell you. I mean, I don't show every time I get them, but because that would be rude, and then you all would start judging me like, who wants that? Who wants that? But if you get an opportunity and you want to get something that tastes good, some really good fruit with incredible candy coating, you really want to make sure that you stop and get some edible arrangements because they are amazing. Oh, what else is going on? Oh, right. I need to make sure that you all know that Black USA News is doing a grant writing workshop. Grant writing for, well, specifically, we're going to talk about writing grants for under $50,000. There are a lot of organizations and individuals who are out in the world who are doing amazing things for the communities that they serve, but aren't getting the funding that goes along with that. We don't believe that that's right. And so what we're doing is that we're holding a workshop on helping you work through or helping explain how you work through the grant writing process. How do you prepare? How do you let people know to tell your story in a way that actually moves them to action? We'll be going over all of that and some of the technical aspects of it. So that's going to be on April 30th, Saturday at 1 p.m. The cost is $25. Look forward to seeing you there. A lot of times we complain about not having a voice. And as the Maryland judiciary is letting you know now, your voice matters. There is an open session. It's a Zoom meeting. You can register where they're having a town hall meeting. It's on Thursday, April 21st at 6:30 p.m. Now, we're going to be there as well covering the event, making sure that we keep the community informed and also making sure that the voices of the community are heard in this platform, on this platform. Big ups to former Mayor Kurt Schmoke and president of the University of Baltimore, one of my favorite mayors of Baltimore City, and also big up to Linda Lewis. She's the court commissioner and has really helped to spearhead and put this event together. So big ups to both of them. And if you want to make sure, if you're in Maryland, especially if you're in Baltimore City, this event is specifically for the Baltimore City judiciary. If you think that there are things that need to be improved with the judiciary, this is the opportunity to make sure that your voice is heard. Let's see what else is going on. Yes. Again, for those organizations that are really trying to make a difference in their community and want to start a nonprofit, there are a lot of programs, a lot of people, a lot of churches, a lot of organizations who are doing good work, but they don't have the formal structure. And we talked a little bit about getting grants before. But if you don't have a formal structure, then it's going to be really difficult for you to get grant money. And we'll even talk about a fiscal agent and how that can work in your opportunities to navigate and run your nonprofit organization. Okay, so that was a lot of stuff. We have so much stuff always going on. But today we're going to talk about whether all skin folk are kinfolk, and let's see which one of these is first. This looks first. So there was an article written in who wrote that article? Elie Mystal wrote an article about Herschel Walker, and here's some of the stuff that he said. Like right off the break, he says Herschel Walker, the football star turned Georgia Senate candidate, is an animated caricature of a Black person drawn by white conservatives. Walker is what they think of us, and they think we're big, ignorant, and easily manipulated. They think we're shady or criminal. They think we're tools to be used. The Walker campaign exists as a political minstrel show, a splashy rendition of what white Republicans think Black people look and sound like. I'm gonna leave that up there for a second because that hit hard. And by the way, that's the first paragraph of the article. That's how he starts. And let's not get it twisted. Herschel Walker has had a number of problems. And a lot of times, with his mental health, lying about his business and those types of things. But what I want to talk a little bit about today is that Herschel Walker's candidacy represents another opportunity for Republicans to make a go of it in the Black community. So one of the things that you have to remember is that Black people haven't always, and I hate when conservatives bring up this point that Black people haven't always been Democrats, they were Republicans first. That is not the talking point I think they want it to be. What they want it to be is that, good morning, Shonda, how you doing? What they want that talking point to be when they say that, when they say that, is that they want to show that that Black people, you know what, let's take this from another direction. Herschel Walker's candidacy, to me at least, is an example, like Ellie said, about what they think of us. They have this opportunity. I'm sorry, when I remember what I was saying. The whole idea that Black people weren't always Republicans. One of the reasons that Black people became Democrats and left the Republican Party, because they're right. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and that was a big deal for Black people, so they gravitated to the Republican Party. But what happened is that as the Democratic Party started becoming more and more a party of the working class, they were and disenfranchised. What they did is that they said, hey, Black people are disenfranchised as well. So let's extend our message to try to recruit them, to try to get a situation that resonates with them. And they changed their policies, they changed their attitudes, they got rid of the KKK out of their ranks, and welcomed Black people as much as white people during the time would. And that's when they left, because the Democratic Party reached out to them. The Democratic Party was like, hey, you know, they did free the slaves, but what have they done for you lately? After what in the 60s, the Democrats became, the Black people became one of the majority voting blocs of the Democratic Party. And so who has to worry about you? Who has to worry about us? If they know that we're always going to vote, then they don't have any incentives to open up the market to us. We have had to fight in the Democratic Party, but guess what's happening? They're open. The Republicans are pulling out the chair for people like Kanye West, for people like Herschel Walker. And the reason that they're doing it is because the traditional ethic that would get someone to not be a Republican, or that idea that being a Republican is bad, has been undermined by the Democrats' lack of wins, if we're going to be honest about it. The Democrats haven't won. And so what ends up happening is that Black people, we're getting tired of just getting kicked around. And so we're looking around and going like, well, at least they'll give me a shot. Think about it. If they're going to give Herschel Walker an opportunity to run for Senate, why not me? And guess what they also have? They have money. When I was an undergrad, I did a study with one of my professors, and we looked at the discrimination in congressional campaign funding. This is back in the 90s. So, yeah, I was on it. Don't get it twisted. I ain't new to the game. I'm true to the game. But when we did the deep dive into the data, what we found is that race had an impact, but tended to have more of an impact in democratic races. The biggest issue was the competitiveness or the competitiveness of the race. Now, one of the other things that I think is a really big reason, or one of the big ways that, or one of the big reasons again, why the Republican Party is doing more outreach to Black people is that the whole last couple of years have made the Conservative Party uncomfortable with their stance on racism. They have been called on the carpet time and time and time again about racist behaviors, about Karening and all this other stuff. And so they're looking to have some more black friends. Because that's the default option whenever somebody challenges people on racism. No, I have Black friends. And guess what? Herschel Walker will be one of your Black friends. Let's see, what else did Ellie say about Herschel Walker? There was one other quote he said, he talked about some of the challenges that Herschel Walker has had in his business dealings and things like that. He said he's also said that something called dry mist can kill COVID, and asked incredulously, why are there still apes, pointing to their existence as proof that evolution and natural selection is not real. Walker is so bad that his team decided to keep him off stage and skip the first Republican primary debate on April 9th. Of course, Walker has been endorsed by Trump. Indeed, Trump's endorsement of an ignorant neophyte who cannot be trusted to debate in public and who is suspected of domestic abuse is the most conventional thing about the Walker candidacy. So when I tell you that Ellie did not hold back on this article, I mean, the link is in the description. You all should really check that out. He didn't hold back at all. And so what that does is that it creates this idea that, maybe Republicans are open to having Black people in the party. Hell, maybe Republicans are actually open to having Black people in the party, not just for window dressing. But how can we tell? A lot of times we talk about association. Association breeds assimilation. Yeah, association breeds assimilation. When you associate yourself with the Oath Keepers, neo-Nazis, the Lauren Boeberts, and the Marjorie Taylor Greens, I can't really trust you. It's kind of like, if I see all of your Snapchats or all of your Instagram or all of your social media posts about you and how you hate kids and how you're going to, you like hurting things and stuff like that and how violent you are, I should be concerned about letting you babysit. Yeah, I should. Yes, I am judging you, and I should, because you're scary. You have a history. And don't get it twisted. I'm not suggesting that anybody with a history can't be an elected official. Absolutely, you can. But don't run from your history. I think another thing that is becoming very evident in a lot of these races, not racist, but races, is that people are so concerned about winning that they don't actually care how they win. They are so concerned about getting the W's, about holding their office, about keeping their job, about having power that they don't even give a damn about how. They don't care about literally lying to people over and over again. And then the question is, well, I know what's wrong with them, but the question is, what's wrong with us? Why do we not hold them accountable? Because we like them? Another thing that Ellie said in another interview is that this idea in the Republican Party, actually it wasn't Ellie, it was another interview I was watching. This idea in the Republican Party that you have to like someone in order to vote for them. Or if you like someone, you have to vote for them. Not realizing, because I remember when Joe Biden got elected and he made his first gaffe. They're like, "Well, how are you all feeling now, liberals?" Blah blah blah. And Democrats were like, "I mean, yeah, we don't. He's an employee. He works. He's the president, but like he's a real dude, and we expect him to do real dude things. He's not always going to be right, and we challenge him and we push him to be better. But it's difficult to do that when you have people who are openly embracing candidates like Herschel Walker. And again, I don't know him personally. All I know is that the media reports and what I have seen him say. I saw the article. I mean, I saw the interview when he was questioning evolution at church and said, "Well, they say if man came from ape, then why are there still apes?" And it's like there is a central piece of information that he doesn't get. And now you all know I'm not really big on people having degrees, or you need to have a degree to be able to do things. But there needs to be at least a level of understanding, a belief in facts. He is still spreading the 2020 big lie. Now, there was also something else that Ellie said, talking about Senator Scott from South Carolina, a black guy. And he said he was a coward and he pandered to his base instead of the constituents. I was like, wow, that's pretty wow. So I thought he was going to go in and rip him too. He's like, but that makes him just like 60 or 70 other of the U.S. senators. He said being mediocre and still wielding power is a form of equality. And I never really thought about it like that. And we always, it makes sense. Well, we've talked about it in different contexts, but this idea, the model minority, that Barack Obama was the magical Negro. He came along once in a while, he was once in a generation black man, and he was able to shift it. But he believed he still believed in the things that the Democratic Party believed in. It wasn't like he was, Black Panther. He was just not against black people. And for the conservative party, that was too much. You're not actively trying to resist the rights of voters and oppress black people. So, you must love black people. You're trying to do so much for them. It was like, I'm just not trying to hurt them. Like, yeah, that was it. I can't say that Barack Obama did anything extraordinary for the black community. Aside from being a symbol, and don't get it twisted, I absolutely understand and appreciate how important symbols are. Actually, it's because of Barack Obama that I do. We don't normally talk about role models, external role models outside of people we actually know in my house. And when my youngest son in 2008, when Barack Obama was elected, my youngest son, it was nearing the end of football season and basketball season was about to start. And there were going to be 2 weeks where he'd have to do football practice and games and do practice and, the warm-ups for basketball. And I was like, that might be a lot. Are you sure you're okay? And I swear to you, this boy looked at me and he said, you know what? If America can elect a black man president, I can play two sports for 2 weeks. Not that we have enough time, not if you believe in me, but it's the idea that America could have elected a black man. That means that I am capable of anything. It really, honestly, it knocked me on my ass. I was like, oh, wow. Wow, that was important. And we talked about it. It was like, well, yeah, because I never thought America would do anything like that. And it means that anything is possible and hopeful. And so I get the value of the symbol. Absolutely. Like Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. I've met so many young girls who are so excited about her being there. It inspires them. It motivates them. It gets them to believe that anything is possible. And the reality is that it is. I mean, you have a black woman who is the sitting justice, who is going to be the sitting justice for the United States Supreme Court. And a little girl looks at her and says, that might be able to be me. I guess when you have been in the position of always being able to see yourself reflected in the greater community, if you've always had the privilege of being able to see judges and presidents and congresspeople and leaders, mayors, city councilmen look like you don't know how powerful that is. See, I found out that people who look like me, when they did get elected, in North Carolina, white people came in and unelected them with rope and with guns and with fire and with bats and with fists. I found out that when people who look like me had some property in New York, Manhattan, called Seneca Valley, white people decided nah, we good. Let's take that from you. And now it's beautiful, beautiful portion of Central Park. Baltimore's Inner Harbor used to be the ghettos. The beautiful Inner Harbor, the jewel of Baltimore, used to be the black ghettos. But then white people wanted to have waterfront property, and they got displaced. So this is part of, and this has been over the last 40 years, 60 years. We have, and I'll use Baltimore as an example because I'm very familiar with what happens here. When Freddie Gray died, the black mayor, black city council president, black police commissioner, if I remember correctly, black state's attorney. Yeah. A lot of the officers who were there on the scene were black. It's not always that skin folk are kinfolk. I have actual family members who I don't trust. And those are blood folk. We need to make sure that we are holding our elected officials accountable. We are telling them that it is not cool to not go to debates. It is not cool that you have lied. Unless, and again, you know what? Maybe that's it. Are we okay with it? Because I don't want to end up being one of those guys who's like, oh, we are not okay with this. We need to stand up, when the issue is that we're actually okay with it. I mean, you know, there are things like, I know for me, struggle with weight. There are times where I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to get in the gym, but the amount that it would cost me to do that in time, effort, emotional energy just wasn't enough for me. So I didn't do it. Have we, is our elections like our weight loss? We're going to do it a little bit. We get excited for a little while. We keep it moving, keep it pumping. And then it's like, oh, this is so hard. Why do I have to keep working at it? Because that's what it's going to take for us to have any level of civility, not even equality, civility. It's going to take us continuing to fight. There are going to be some of us, for our jobs, are just going to be the fight. And there needs to be more of us who are just in the fight. And also, one of the things we need to realize is that the fight looks different at different stages for different people. So, for example, if we're in an outright war with people, I'm probably not the person you need to send to the front lines. My skill set is wasted there. Tactical analysis and spycraft, absolutely, you should have me signed up for that. There are opportunities where, and now again, let me talk about something I know, the NAACP of Baltimore City. We have gotten significant criticisms because people say we are not out there and we're not doing things. And to an extent, their perspective makes sense, because in Baltimore City and the NAACP here, we've stopped just doing the public stuff. We have realized that a lot of decisions get made in boardrooms. A lot of contracts get signed, not in a public town hall, but in an office somewhere. A lot of the policy happens when we are tested. A lot of the policy gets made and influenced as we testify on things. We have figured out how the system works, and we are working against the system inside. But what that means is that while we spend time in hearings and testimony and stuff like that, we don't have time to go out and protest or to walk around holding signs. And unfortunately, for some people, that is what they remember about the NAACP, and that's what they miss. And so for them, they're saying like, well, you all aren't doing anything. That's not true. Why don't you change it? When you come to an organization and you say you're not doing anything, why don't you ask that, what are you doing? Because I can run down the list. We are working to the public banking initiatives and really getting people updated about the opportunities that public banking has, because guess what? Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of cash coming into our communities. And what we've seen is that the profit motives on a lot of financial institutions means that they don't take us into consideration. It is their profit, and then our needs come a distant second. And they look at our needs in the paradigm of how do they make a profit. So we want to have a conversation about, is public banking an option for Baltimore or this region? What does it look like? What is it about? We have been working heavily to support small businesses and entrepreneurs. We have partnered with IAF to offer classes to young people to help them understand entrepreneurship. every month we have a number of cases that come in where people find themselves discriminated in housing policy. They find themselves discriminated against employment, and they come to us, and we try to help them either negotiate with the alleged person or entity engaging in discrimination, or we just say, hey, let us help you find a lawyer. And we we know lawyers. And so that's what we do. But because it's not on the news, because it's not boisterous, because it's not disruptive, people assume that we're not doing anything. And that's not the case. Everybody has a role to play. And it's important that we identify and play our individual roles. So let's see what else. What else are we going to talk about today? So talked a lot about not all skin folk, not all kinfolk being, not all skin folk being kinfolk. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's see. You know what? I think that's all I really wanted to talk about today. This day is going to be a short show. Just wanted to get that out the way. Gonna go hang out with my mama. I love you guys. I am so grateful for having this opportunity to share my ideas, thoughts, and feelings with you guys. And we will be black tomorrow.